Welcome to the Bodega Cat Podcast with Christina Ng. Over the next hour, you'll hear from guest experts from a variety of different backgrounds, with specialties pertaining to pets and humans alike. Now, here is Christina.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is the Bodega Cat Podcast, and I'm your host, Christina. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Jenny Karns, and I will read a little bit of her bio, and I'll have her elaborate on it. So, Jenny Karns is a cosmic healer human with a profound passion for guiding individuals towards their highest potential and purpose on Earth. With 17 years of dedicated experience in the healing arts, Jenny has become a beacon of light for those seeking transformation and alignment with their true selves. Specializing in a diverse range of modalities, including Reiki, massage therapy, emotion code, SCIO, quantum biofeedback, and human design, Jenny offers a holistic approach to healing that addresses the physical, emotional, and energetic aspects of her clients' well-being. Jenny's journey into the healing arts began as a personal quest for self-discovery and healing. Drawn to the galactic mysteries as well as the interpersonal and emotional mysteries, she embarked on a path of exploration that led her to uncover her innate gifts as a healer and intuitive guide. Her deep connection with the cosmic realms and her unwavering commitment to service have earned her a reputation as a trusted mentor and healer within the spiritual community. Jenny's gentle yet powerful presence creates a safe and nurturing space for healing to unfold, allowing her clients to release old wounds, trauma, and limiting beliefs that no longer serve them. One of Jenny's greatest joys is working with Starseeds and Lightworkers, souls that have incarnated on Earth with a higher purpose and mission. Through her work, she assists these individuals in navigating their unique paths, clearing energetic blockages, and activating their innate gifts and abilities. With boundless compassion and wisdom, Jenny empowers her clients to step into their authenticity and embrace their divine essence. She believes that by healing ourselves, we contribute to the collective healing of humanity and the planet. Jenny Karns is not just a healer. She is a catalyst for transformation, a guiding light for those who are ready to awaken to their true potential and shine brightly in the world. Well, welcome, Jenny. Welcome to the podcast. I'm very happy that you're here. And I know you and I first connected back in February last year, when you were inquiring about the EE system, and my center hasn't opened yet. So, but
yeah,
we kept in touch,
tracking you down before it began. And thank you so much for having me on here today. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to talk to you more. I've loved all of our conversations, and now we'll have one that's recorded.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was exciting because we kind of hit it off right away. Both of us are in the energy world, and we both studied pranic healing. I've kind of took the pranic healing route a little further, which is what I'm doing right now. But it was very...
Yeah, and that's what I started with.
Yes.
And then, went in a whole bunch of other directions. But it's been foundational for my work, too. So we have that in common for sure.
It has. Pranic healing has.
And all of our mystery school spiritual studies. We're both into all of that.
Right. It's never ending.
Can't get enough. Can't get enough. Yeah.
That's right.
Totally.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is to start talk a little bit about maybe have you elaborate your journey and how you got started, and was there a certain trigger or event that kind of started you on this journey? And we'll kind of go from there. And then we'll talk a little bit about your services that you provide. And I know you and I are going to collaborate in April, hopefully one of many, about collaboration. And we'll kind of see what happens. So let's just start with your journey in terms of your healing journey and how you got started.
Sure. Yeah, I started my practice 17 years ago now, but in the years leading up to that, I was working in TV and film, and I had gone to school for TV and film, and I was, I'm going to work. This is my work. And I got into it, and I was miserable, and I was having a ton of health challenges, and I was secretly going to classes on the weekend, like pranic healing, and trying to understand like what's going on with me. And I started seeing chiropractors and massage therapists and energy workers just to like work through, because I was like early mid-20s at the time, and I was having just like a ton of extreme health challenges and couldn't figure out what was going on with me. And of course, that's not like normal in your 20s. I mean, unless you're having a spiritual awakening or something leading you to that. So I was doing a number of classes and sort of secretly studying all these healing modalities while I was working on set. And then we had a writer's strike in 2007, and then there was no work. And it was like this thing that I had worked so hard to do that I actually ended up not loving, like dissolved in front of me, and I had to actually choose a different path. And at the time, it was really sweet. A friend of mine took me to see a psychic, and she was like, "Oh, everything is falling apart for you right now. And that's because it's time to step into your healing years." And I was like, "What?" Terrifying. I was like, because like in 2007 still, it was very like, I mean, people were just either woo-woo crazy or like, I just was like, oh my God, how do I like bridge the like normal world with the 5D world I just couldn't see how to do that at that point. So I went to massage school because I thought, okay, well, people understand that massage is helpful. So I feel like I can do that. I don't feel like I can say I do energy work yet. I just didn't feel confident in it yet at that point. But through massage, I knew I could like do the energy work, but people could get the body work and receive the energy work if they were open to it. And I went to massage school in 2007 and started my practice like right out of school and started doing energy work and body work. And that was actually the perfect way to go with it because I needed to get more grounded in my body. I'm very Pisces, and I'm very like a spiritual soul who was having a hard time being in her body. So doing body work really helps me get grounded and in my body. And it helped me be able to help other people get more grounded and get in their body. So the light workers and the starseeds and the people like that are the people I love working with the most because I relate to that. And I am one of those. And I know how hard it was to like, oh gosh, it's hard to have a physical body and it's hard to be on the planet sometimes. It's like we made this agreement to come in and be here, but then it's like, oh man, this is a rough gig.
Why did I do that?
Why did I choose this? And then we have to like forget everything. So we don't even remember, did I choose this? What the heck?
I know. Life is tough, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. But the more we can actually get our spirit in our body and be grounded and really be here and find the ways to be here, it's like, this is the mystery school we chose into next, the Planet Earth Mystery School. So it was perfect that I started with massage because it really helped me learn to ground myself more and then help bring those higher frequency souls more into their body as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm learning myself because, as a spiritual practitioner, it's easy to, when you meditate and you're in woo-woo land, you're like in bliss all the time, right? And it's, and that's where we want to be, but we always forget that we have a body. And for me, taking essential oil, for me, it's essential oils. For you is massage therapy. There are many other modalities out there. There's more than one way to get to God, right? That's what my teacher always says.
Exactly.
And right now, my teacher who teaches essential oils and esoteric teachings, he really helped me appreciate my body even more in terms of healing. Yeah, because, your body itself is a multiverse in itself. And you can, if you don't look at the outer world or pay attention to the outer world, just paying attention to your inner world takes a lifetime because it's so rich.
Sure.
It's very, very rich.
Sure.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that, you know, even though we've been taught to, you know, to focus on the body, we really don't focus it the way we're meant to focus it. I don't know if I'm making sense, but
yeah,
but it's a beautiful organism. Our body is a beautiful organism.
It's its own magical multiverse.
Absolutely.
And once you're able to like pull your spirit into there, then it's like, oh, wow, I can really actually experience and have this experience.
Yes.
I really think the human species is meant to become, and part of our evolution is to become more multidimensional. And it's like a lot of like the more starseed Lightworker people came from like other dimensions. Like we were hanging out in 5D or 6D or some other place where it was just like love and bliss and easy, and we're creating. And, and like the call went out for planet Earth, and it was like, okay, well, they need help, and this species is trying to evolve into this multidimensional species. And is that possible? And so I think a lot of those of us who had experience in different dimensions and different lifetimes came here. But in this life, as a human, we're learning how to be in multiple dimensions at once. Mm-hmm. And part of that is the body. And then the body is making this transformation right now. The human body, if you so choose, right, is to like, we're going from more carbon-based to crystalline. So we're actually transmuting and alchemizing, you know, the dirt into the diamonds in our own body, but that's not necessarily comfortable. So then we're like, oh, get me out of this thing. Like, this is not comfortable in this body, because like sometimes it's working good and other times it's not, and it needs more assistance. And as we go through these ascension cycles, the body has to be updated too, because the consciousness and the spirit is very fast. It's like, oh, got it. Moving on. Got that. Like you can have a flash of insight and it changes everything. But like, then the body is like, whoa, help.
Hey, stop. I got to do the paperwork first.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then the body is more like the inner child. It's more like, which is like the subconscious mind as well. It's more inner child. So it's like, it just needs like the coaxing and the care and the nurturing. Like, okay, you're okay. Like, I'm going to make sure you have what you need, and I got you. And like, I'm going to help you get there, because otherwise it's like, oh, forget this. I don't know what you're doing to me.
Right.
So, helping our body get on board. It actually wants to, like, our bodies actually want to make this transition and transformation, and to have our spirit in there. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons why it's so important to have a spiritual practice, whatever that means to the individual, because, you know, the soul is like it's like the parent, you know, organizing things and keeping things in order and, you know, things like that. Make sure all the little kids, like our emotions and stuff, don't get run amok like little kids do.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or that we just eat all the cookies all day.
Right. Right, exactly.
Like, okay, you're going to eat the healthy food, then you can have the cookie. Or you're going to get that massage. You're going to go figure out what's going on with this.
Right, exactly.
And our bodies are constantly updating, so there's always new things. So it's like, well, what's happening now? And it's so connected to the emotional body, too. So it's like, I mean, often in the work I'm doing, it's like we're half tracking the emotional stuff, half tracking the physical stuff, and it ends up being the same thing. And once you can have that consciousness shift and then gently help the body be like, okay, here we go. This is the new consciousness shift. Let's update the programming. Then it does that. It's happy to do that. It wants to do that.
Right. And that's one of the beautiful things about energy. It's like, you don't have to know. It's like my teacher says, you don't have to know, you know, what you're taking out in the trash, you just take out the trash, right? You don't dig through it.
Exactly.
You throw away. And that's what energy is. When energy moves, when consciousness comes in and moves energy, you don't have to know the details about what happened, your trauma 40, 50 years ago. It just releases it. And that's it. That's the beauty of it. And that's why I love pranic healing so much, because, the founder, Master Choa, he was an engineer. And as an engineer, he was able to really integrate and harmonize both the left brain, the detail-oriented side, and then the right brain, the spiritual, intuitive side. And really, if you want to experience God, you have to shift to that intuitive part.
Yeah.
But as a human being, it's our job to integrate both, And that's what I love about his teachings, that it's very intuitive, but it's also very powerful. There's some of the techniques that he came up with, for example, like the Twin Hearts meditation. This is something that we do every day. And it's a very, very, it's a very powerful but soft and gentle meditation. That's also very, very powerful. And it my teacher studied under Master Choa. And Master Choa told him, gave him a challenge. He says, do Twin Hearts for a year. It'll change your life. And then my teacher went back to him and said, you're wrong. He said to his teacher, you're wrong. It changed my life.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he said, it changed my life.
Oh, wow.
For months. That's how powerful that meditation is. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's similar to what I do with emotion code with people too. And emotion code is just this way of actually tapping in quickly to find out what is the subconscious mind holding on to, and then let's give it permission to release that. And it can be something that's okay, well, this is actually an inherited emotion from 6 ancestors back. And it's you're not going to actually know what happened or why, or so we're just tapping in, we're finding that, but then we're giving it permission to release. And then the subconscious mind is okay, great. Let's just clear that now. And then, but it's this powerful way of identifying it, which helps because that's the two parts of the brain, right? The conscious and the subconscious too. It's if you consciously go, oh, yes, this emotion has been present for me for a long time, and it hasn't been identifiable, connected to anything, but it's oh, that was inherited, or, oh, this got trapped at this point, or there was some kind of physical trauma and your subconscious mind made it mean this. And then you can go, oh, right, I totally did. And there's something about when you make it conscious, and then the conscious part can tell the subconscious part, okay, we're going to let that go now, that you can actually have the shift, because otherwise it's just sort of subconscious and, roiling under the surface, and you don't actually know what it is and can't really find the words for it. And so it's we find it, identify it, clear it, and then help the body understand that okay, this is the new programming, and the mind too. And it's I see people within days too, you're saying, the 4-month thing too. It's even with emotion code, it's within days, they're oh my gosh, I don't have that thing anymore. I don't have that crippling anxiety. I was able to go to that thing. I was able to do this, or this whole thing changed. I can't believe how different I feel. Because our subconscious mind is so powerful.
Yeah. We're so fortunate to have so many modalities that are powerful and, to help us with our journey. It's just amazing. So you talked a little bit about the emotion code. So let's talk about the human design, which you gave me a beautiful reading of it, by the way. It's like learning a whole new language. My brain is still swirling.
Mine is too, and I've been studying it 12 years. I'm still going, oh, whoa, new things to learn.
I know. So tell us a little bit about it and how it works and stuff like that.
Sure. I actually had somebody do a reading for me about 12 years ago. So I had been doing my healing practice for about 5 years at that point, and I was doing Reiki and massage primarily. And then around 12 years ago, somebody was like, oh, well, have you had a human design reading? And I was like, I have no idea what that is. So a friend of a friend gave me a human design reading, and it was this mind-blowing experience where somebody who didn't know me very well sat in front of me and gave me like a whole description of like how I operate in the world. And it was almost like somebody gave me this permission slip to just be myself, to like actually look at the things that I maybe questioned about myself or doubted about myself as gifts, and then learn to like enhance those gifts and work on those gifts rather than like, oh gosh, why aren't you more blah, blah, blah? Or, you know, because we're all so uniquely designed, like human design. We all have these very different charts, very different ways that we move energy, very different ways that we make decisions or feel things through or gut instinct things through or analyze things and most people, like, I mean, we've been primarily taught, at least mostly in the Western world, that like you have to really logically think about things. Like, is that logical? And it's like, you know, those of us in any spiritual worlds know, like, okay, well, what's your intuition say? What's your instinct say? But then in human design, it goes even more specific. Like, okay, are you emotion defined or sacral defined or spleen defined? Or like, what is the way that you make decisions? It's either going to be instinct or it's going to be based on like your heart or it's going to be based on your emotions. But like, that's actually different for everybody. So there isn't like one prescription for like, well, we should just not think about it and we should feel about it because that's going to be one thing for one and one for another, actually. But primarily, most people are designed to either feel or intuit or something, and then let their mental analytical capacities support that. So, yeah.
Would you say that's our innate ability to be intuitive and feel rather than logic? Do you think that logic is something that has been taught to us rather than, you know, being natural? You know what I mean?
No, I mean, I think it's natural. I think it's part of it, but it needs to support. It's like putting the fire under the water, basically. Like let the mind support and give words to what the intuition and instinct is telling you. Mm. So tap in first, and this also depends on the person. So are you instinct? Are you emotion? Are you like? So I would, like, in a reading, tell people, like, if you're emotion defined, here's what you do. If you're sacral defined, here's how to get your answer. And then here's how to let your analytical ability support it. And that's only if they have a defined head or mind. If they don't have a defined head or mind, then, you know, you just listen to your instincts. But so every chart is different. And in human design, it's literally like a compass for you. Like, it's not like any sort of predictive tool. It's not going to tell you what's going to happen in your future. It's just a compass for how to understand how you move and operate and what, like, what energies are most unique to you and what you are always bringing to the world. And then in what ways you're more open. So also knowing the ways you're more open you're going to understand, like, this is where I'm more empathic, or this is where I might be taking on other people's energy, or this is where I might need to like walk away for a minute to really feel into what's right for me, or, you know, like, so there's different prescriptions basically based on each chart, and every person's chart is their own unique compass for how to operate in the world.
So once you're aware, then you have the power to change, right? If you want to.
Right. Well, I mean, you have the power to lean into your gifts, and then anything that's a gift, it's like, it's also going to come with its challenges, because if you're going to grow something in this lifetime, so human design is looking at, here's the blueprint of your life. Here's like the thumbprint of like what you want to evolve in this lifetime, and give words to that. Like, here, oh yeah, here's what I'm working to evolve in this lifetime. And then, you know, how do I follow that blueprint, and how do I work something that can, because everything can be shadow to dark. Any little piece of anything can be shadow to dark. So it's like, shadow to light. So are you like, if you know something about yourself, now you know, like, oh, this means I could have the tendency towards this. Like there's a judgment line in human design. So if you have the judgment line, you're somebody who is really gifted at helping people navigate through things, see the way to go, figure things out. Like, they're really good, like, coaches and guides and teachers. But the shadow side of it is they can be like, it's the judgment line. So they can be overly judgmental, overly critical on themselves, or on their own environment and then get paralyzed in this like hypercritical of self and then not able to help others. So if you kind of know that this is something about yourself, you can be like, oh, okay, I need to get out of my own way a little bit and support myself better in order to actually step into the gift that I have to give the world, you know? Mm-hmm. So everything has like the grit, like the pearl, like the sand that turns into the pearl. It's like, these are the things you're working on in this lifetime. And it's helpful to look at that because it's like, we're looking at it with compassion. It's like, okay, oh yeah, it is really hard for me to like I have an open head center. And so like, sometimes I have every thought and I can download the mysteries of the universe. And then the next moment it's like, what was the thing about the thing? And where are my keys? It's a very like absent-minded professor energy. But like in one moment it's like, oh my God, I know all this stuff. And like, so I always tell people with the open head center, like me, like when you have the insights, write them down because you're not going to remember later.
Absolutely.
So there's hacks for everything. And there's gifts in being open in certain ways. And there's gifts in being defined in certain ways. So like nothing is like, oh no, I'm cursed with this. Like, no, these are just like your specific strengths and your specific like ways that you might be more open and empathic.
Yeah.
And it's a combination system. It's like, it's its own system. It's not like a belief system. You don't have to believe in anything. You can just like try it. And I always just say like, if this resonates and it feels helpful, keep it. If it doesn't, chuck it because you are the master of your own life and destiny. So, but it's not a belief system. You don't have to subscribe to like, oh, I now worship a certain God or something. It's just like, it's a system that you can like, try it on and check it out. But it's a combination. It does have, it's a tool. Yeah. And it has aspects of astrology, I Ching, Kabbalah, the chakra system, and then also quantum physics. So it takes into account like, how do we affect each other? And how are we like electromagnetically drawing certain people into our life in order to complete certain patterns for ourselves or open up different conversations that we have this desire to open up, but maybe don't have the full energy on that by ourselves. But somebody else has another aspect of that. And now we've got this whole new conversation happening in our lives.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
When you were talking about the blueprint with human design, an image kind of came to mind. So it's like, if you want to travel from California to New York, you might have a blueprint, a map, right? How to get there.
Yes.
And all along the way, you can choose to decide how you want to get there and where you want to get there. So you could take the straight route, freeway straight through. You could take the scenic route. You could take the mountain route. You could take, you could take the train. You could take the bicycle. You could take the motorcycle, so there's many, many different tools and modalities to get there. So, yeah. And I think human design and some of the things that you do are just powerful tools to help us along the way. And it always, and it doesn't negate the power of free will, because there's always this debate about, is it predetermined and is it free? You always have free will. Always.
Yeah.
That's where your power is your free will, is in the moment. Yeah.
And I think anything predictive at this point is almost insane because we're shifting the timeline so fast and so many people are becoming more aware of like, oh, I do have free will and I can create the life I want to, and I'm not at the mercy of some predetermined whatever. And so now here's all these creators popping online and now we're all awake to, we can create an entire new timeline. So, you can't predict where it's going to go because you get to create it.
Yes. I'm thinking, what's the fun in that, to know the future? You create it in the moment, right now, right here. That's where the fun is, right?
Yeah,
you get to determine, this works, this doesn't, let's try that. And really get your creative juices going. That's where the fun is, I think.
Yeah. And you get to create your own life. And here's a little blueprint that might help along the way. That's like, okay, I'm coming into this kind of a situation. All right, here's the ways I typically respond to this. How do I want to evolve that? How do I want to work with that energy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're in mastery training on planet Earth right now. Like this is a big school here, so you might as well be playing with all the tools you can.
We've jumped from elementary school to college, right?
Right, and we're like, we're in the crash course right now, like
AP classes.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Might as well learn along the way. All right, what do I want to learn from this? What do I want to create in this? Yeah.
That is awesome. So
totally.
Let's talk a little bit about the quantum biofeedback, because I think people kind of know what biofeedback is. It's just kind of been out there for a while, but I don't think a lot of people heard about SCIO, SCIO. What does it stand for? What does it do?
Oh, it doesn't stand for anything that's going to make it's like super conscious interface operated. It's an AI basically, but it's a Rife technology machine. And it's one of the mothership of Rife Tech. It's
Dr. Royal Rife?
Yes, who was working with frequency and healing, and he was trying to create free medicine by working with frequency. And he had a clinic, and I believe it was in California. So he had a clinic at one point that had these kind of machines there, and it was a cancer clinic, and he was shrinking people's tumor with frequency and sound. And of course, the government wasn't a huge fan of that because there's not enough money in that. It's not keeping people sick enough. So they came in and took away all of the equipment, and then it went into sort of more like undercover, hard to get a hold of it kind of things. It's coming back out a little bit more mainstream now, but this one I had to order from a company in Hungary. And it's a very, you have to, as I do these sessions, I have to be very careful, because it's one of those things that was it's so helpful that it heals people without any sort of, making you sick at the same time or keeping you dependent on any medications or anything like that. So I have to be very careful in how I speak about it. I'm not healing you. I'm just helping the body retrain itself with frequency. I don't know if you have to do that with EES too.
I was just going to say, for my audience, Jenny and I are not doctors. We're not
there we go.
Licensed people. We're not making any claims. We're not doing any of that stuff. We're just here having a conversation and having sharing experiences of positive experiences of people who have, went through the modality. So I just want to put it out there as a Okay, so
continue. Exactly. There's no promises of epic healing, but anything's possible because free will. If you choose it, and we can create it, anything's possible.
And your body heals yourself.
So,
which is
exactly.
All the modalities and the tools and all that stuff, they're just tools. If you don't have the right mindset, if you don't have the right spiritual connection and all that other stuff, all the inner work that needs to be done, it hinders your body from healing itself. And really, we're just helping the body create that environment, and that's what the EE system does as well. It creates that environment. And I look at it as we're a little goldfish in a bowl of dirty water. And these little modalities that we do, we help people with, we take that temporarily, we take those water out and clean it out and put a fresh, water in there so that the little goldfish can swim a little bit longer. Right?
Exactly. So. Yes. I love that. It's a great visual. Yeah. And true. And all these things are tools. And it's every body needs something different. Everybody needs something different, and every body needs something different in order to heal. So I always like to have a conversation with people first to say, okay, what's going on? And then what resonates with you of the things I have. And then here's other practitioners and what they do, because it's I can't say well, I'm the one who's going to fix it. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Let's try some things and that's why I've incorporated a number of different tools.
Right.
And what?
You would want to run as far as possible if somebody says to you, I can cure you, or I'm the only one that you
right?
Right?
I'm the only one.
No.
No.
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
it has to be, what do you resonate with and what do you need? And, so I like to listen when I first talk to somebody from that place and then really just see what pops in. Like, because it might be like, oh, you need to go talk to Christina, actually, or, oh, you might need to see my chiropractor, or like, and then they, free will, of course, get to decide. But I have just incorporated a few different modalities because I kept finding different things that were helping me that I wanted to learn more about and that I wanted to share. So for me, it wasn't like, oh, well, these are the only things. It was just more like, these are the things that helped me. And now I've incorporated it so I can help other people with it too. So the SCIO machine, I actually, I'd started my healing practice. I was about 8 years into my healing practice. I'd started doing human design readings too. And I got Epstein-Barr so bad, which is mono, and it went into my brain. So I had a virus go into my brain. And I mean, there was a number of things happening at that time, and I was doing some past life healings, and I had some things to clear that way. But the body was definitely freaking out. And I was like, I'm a healer helper person, and I don't know what to do for myself right now. Like, what is going on? And I didn't know what it was. So this was before I knew what was happening. I just knew I had really bad, like, neurological symptoms and exhaustion, and I didn't know what was happening. And I had 3 different people in the span of like 2 weeks say, you need to try a SCIO session so you can figure out what's going on. So the SCIO is actually really good at identifying, like, it'll give me a list. So if I run a scan of somebody, and I can do this from anywhere because it's quantum. So we work with your birthday, birth time, birthplace. It literally goes into the quantum field, it finds you, it scans you, and then through my computer, it gives me a list of all the top stressors. So people at that time were telling me, you need to get a session so you can see what's going on, and then it will also help like balance you out a little bit more with the frequency. But, maybe this will give you an idea what, if there's a doctor you need to see, or what to even ask, or what blood test to run, or anything, because it's like, oftentimes with these sort of mystery symptoms and mystery illnesses, and doctors look at your blood work and they're like, you're fine. You're like, I'm not fine. What is going on? So this is actually really helpful for that. So I had 3 different people recommend it to me. And then one friend was like, well, I have a friend who does it and she's in Hawaii. And I was like, there's no way I can go to Hawaii. I can't even make it to the grocery store right now. And she was like, no, it's quantum. You're going to just relax at home, and she's going to run the session, and she's going to give you information. And I was doing healing modalities, and I was pretty woo-woo at this point. And even that was like, what the heck is she going to do? So I was like, well, this will be interesting just to see like the scan and what information she gets. Cause I'm always curious about that. And then she was like, yeah, and then I'll run it for like 90 minutes. So we're going to do the scan. We'll get the information, but I'm going to run it for about 90 minutes and just, you're going to relax. And then, you're going to feel a lot better by tomorrow. And I was like, okay. I'm just curious about the scan part. I don't know if it's going to help me feel a lot better. Like, you're not even here. But I woke up the next day, and she was like, she had said, like, you should get some kind of a blood test, looks like maybe Epstein-Barr. And I was like, okay, great. Like, it gave me direction, which was empowerment. It was like, okay, that's actually something I can look into now. And then also I woke up the next day, and it was like the birds were singing, and I had energy. It was like the clean water in the fishbowl. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually feel normal, and I can get to the grocery store and make a soup. And it was really like the beginning of the healing journey on that. And then I went and got the blood test and found out what was happening. And then I ended up getting a SCIO of my own because I wanted to help myself heal. And then I wanted to help other people with this as well, because it was such a frustrating journey for me just with the mystery illness. And it's really helped me tremendously to feel so much better. And so I love helping people who are like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. And they're just feeling lost, because giving any kind of information can be empowering. like, okay, maybe investigate this further, investigate this. And then anytime we have information, we can get a little bit more of our sovereignty and empowerment back in order to be more in free will and less at the like mercy of whatever is happening.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have to go through a lot of training with the SCIO as a practitioner?
Yeah, there's definitely training with this, and it's kind of like one of the motherships of the rice technologies. There's a lot of new ones coming out, like coils, and there's like the Healy, which is wonderful too. There's
Spooky too. Oh yeah.
Spooky. That one's very cool too. Those are more like little personal systems. They can be really helpful. This one's just kind of the mothership one that just like really does like a great big scan and a great big clear. It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's rice technology. We're just working with frequencies.
That's incredible.
It's the whole idea of like, the opera singer hitting the note that breaks the glass.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody has a virus or anything like that, and especially like during COVID and people were really scared and, oh God, I've got the sniffles and do I have COVID? And, I could actually do a scan and be like, either yes or no, or yeah, you'll be okay. And let's actually zap it because we're going to hit it with the frequency that breaks it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do that with viruses and infections and parasites or any number of things. And it just helps break it down, boost up the immune system, help things clear out, which is empowering in itself. Because I think there was a lot of fear for the last few years too, around like, oh God, if I get it, I'm going to die. And it's like, no, there's still things you can do to help your body. There's still ways to stay strong and healthy.
Yeah, that's something that I find, fear, the opposite of fear is knowledge. And so if you fear something, learn.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And there's always a cure. I shouldn't say cure, but, there's always a solution or a remedy out there for every known diseases, viruses, problems, whatever you want to stick a word in there. So we just have to shift our mindset to look for that frequency, right? For that solution frequency and for the remedy frequency. So, it's very interesting.
And the SCIO is really fun because when it does a scan, like it'll tell me body, mind, spirit, all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And it'll recommend things like a Bach flower essence or an essential oil or a supplement so it like really has like a number of different remedies in there too. It's programmed with like 10,000 different frequencies, and it was programmed by like a physician who also became more natural medicine as well. So it's looking at any number of different, which is fun because it's like, well, it might be this, but it might be a combination of this, this, and this. It might be a Bach flower thing plus a supplement plus you need a massage or you just need to meditate but it's like, knowing what to try is really empowering because otherwise you're just kind of floating around in the I don't even know what to try land. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is actually a good modality to start with for people who are fairly healthy too, right? Not just for people who are sick. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Healthy, sick, whatever. Yeah. But it can definitely help with the physical stuff, and it can help with clarifying if you have things going on. Mm-hmm. But it can help with any number of things. It's just helping with wellness and bringing your body into homeostasis. So anytime I do a scan of somebody, we're just seeing what kind of stressors are present, and any kind of a stressor is taking you out of homeostasis. So, and then if something is too low, it can be a stress if something's too low. It can be a stress if something's too high. So it's like I'm boosting up the things that are too low, and I'm helping to bring down the things that are too high, just so you're in that place of homeostasis where you can actually just rest and heal and rewire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's important.
The clean bowl of water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Body needs to be in the rest and repair mode in order for it to heal itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Lightworkers and Starseeds. I know you've been working.
Sure.
Let's define them for those of my audience who don't know. Who are they? What do they do? And Why they sound so funny?
Why are they so weird? That's our superpower. We're weird. Yeah, I think my primary messaging is for anyone who's sensitive, that's your superpower. Don't let anyone tell you it's not your superpower. And I think the light workers and the starseeds are developing the sensitivities because we are learning to read between the lines on things. We're not just like, oh, just force yourself through it. Just do it. You know, we're tapping into like, yeah, but what's the best way to do it? Or how do I want to do it? So sensitivity is a superpower. But yeah, I mean, I have ideas around all of this. Do you have any definitions around starseeds or light workers? What in those words do you resonate with or not?
Personally, honestly, I don't know. I think I'm not much into labels. I kind of look at people's characteristics and, I look at the essence rather than the form, if you want to put it that way.
For sure.
In the Buddhist tradition, you have the yin and the yang, you got the form and the essence. And so I think for me, my interest has always been, how do you get to the essence? Because that is where the divine force is, like Star Wars, may the force be with you, right? They're talking about the divine essence there. So labels to me are not really that important. But it's kind of interesting to hear people talk about that. I think we're all here for a purpose and to bring in light. I mean, that's really our ultimate mission as incarnated souls, really, is to bring light into the world. And how much light are we bringing back to source energy, to our higher soul? I mean, that's the ultimate mission. So it's not so much what you did on this earth or how famous you are or how many followers you have. Those are not important. And I see this all the time when I was a hospice nurse. At the end of your life, it's not how much money you have. I mean, I've taken care of CEOs all the way to homeless people and everything in between.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it's not how big of a house you have, how many Maseratis you got in your garage. It's about that peace, right? And I've had this happen all the time. People who hang on, they're at death's door and they hang on and hang on and hang on. Well, it turns out that they had a scuffle with a friend or hold a grudge with a friend or relative 30, 40 years ago, and they're waiting for that person to walk in the door to say goodbye. As soon as they walk in the door, my patient takes the last breath. And I see it all the time. It's just that peace that they are looking for. And that's the peace on the soul level. And so, if you live your life in the high life with all the cars and girls and all that stuff, my experience has been, it's not going to be a peaceful death because you're not peaceful. But if you live your life, in, being good to others and being kind to others and being of service to others, you're going to die a peaceful death. So that's been my experience. Yeah. So
that's beautiful.
So my experience, my definition of starseeds is just people who are here to bring in the light, whatever that may look like. It could be not flipping a finger when somebody cuts you off in traffic, right? Or saying a kind word to someone or encouraging someone. These are all little lights that we bring in to people in especially our relationships, because our relationships are our greatest teachers, especially those that are close to us. And so that's what I see, what Lightworker and Starseeds are. And then for those who are really serious on the spiritual path and wanted to take it a step further, like you, for example, they go into the healing modality or have, certain spiritual ceremonies that bring in that light even stronger, to accelerate, the healing or the spiritual evolution of humanity, something that, Astara does, which is my spiritual community, the mystery school too, and other mystery schools out there. Mine isn't the only one. So that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, cool. I totally agree with all of that. Yeah. And I think there's something in the essence of like, there's a certain, like, we're all part of humanity. We are all part of this. And there's something in the essence of the soul of the ones that know they're here to help and want to bring the light that is almost more starseed or galactic. It's like the call went out to other realms and so a lot of the starseeds have sort of this sense of like, oh, I don't know, do I belong here? And, there's a lot of them that have been coming in more like that are in like their 20s now and younger that are like, wait, what's happening? Where did I come from? And a lot of them haven't even ever been on this planet before. They're just like here to help. But they at their essence or soul, which of course all goes back to God and oneness, but it's like, there's like some history of more like galactic lives or other lives outside of human lives as well, where they have a certain awareness at a soul level of how to help with the evolutionary process of humanity during this time.
Yeah, and I love it how you get you kind of tap into the galactic and talk about that, because eventually that's where we're going to be going. So yeah, it's very
definitely
interesting.
And I think we're all kind of a mutt of a lot of different galactic species in this one human species. So I think we're going to be learning more about that. And like, oh, what aspects are you, like that's going to get more interesting to people, especially as we become more galactic and start meeting any others that are outside of our realm of here.
Yeah. And I've never been much of a science fiction type of person, but lately I've been watching Star Treks and Star Wars.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, just to kind of see what's possible out there,
Right? You're like, oh, they're putting it on TV. Some of this might be real.
Tickle my imagination a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got a few minutes left, and I wanted to give you a chance to see if you have anything a topic that you wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on, or last words of wisdom before I have people kind of let you tell people where to find you. So if there's any topic you wanted to, maybe some other services that you haven't listed on your website that you wanted to highlight, anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think we went through a number of the services. Things I can do for people in the LA area is Reiki and massage, and I can do emotion code in person as well in a Reiki or massage. I can also do emotion code remotely, and I can do SCIO remotely, and I can do human design remotely. So all of those, I can work with people outside of the Los Angeles area, and doesn't actually matter where you are in the world. I have modalities that I can help and work with you remotely. And emotion code sessions, we could get on the phone and we'll just go through like what's happening, what are you wanting to clear? And then we go through a series of like your subconscious mind talking to my subconscious mind. And we just go through a series of like charts and things using a pendulum and figure out what is up and what wants to clear. And we clear it together. And so there's a whole healing session that we can just do over the phone. Those are about an hour. SCIO sessions are about 90 minutes, and you're just relaxing at home and receiving healing, and good to do around bedtime or a time you can just meditate. And human design sessions, we would also do over the phone. So, and those are typically about 90 minutes, and I can do couples readings. So I can look at like your energy with somebody else. I can look at team readings for like a whole company. Like here's all the different characteristics and personalities, and here's who's good at what. All the way from that to just like a personal reading. So one-on-one for 90 minutes where I just share everything about your chart, what's in your chart, and what your gifts and what you have at your disposal in your own resources. And it's one of those sessions that's typically like, it's things you already know, but you didn't even have the words for. And now you're like, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that is what I do, or that is how I operate, or this is really helpful. Mm-hmm. So those are just some of the services. And I think just in general, words of wisdom, just to anybody who feels like they're here on the planet with any kind of a mission or here to help, that, just remember to trust your sensitivities, trust yourself, and listen to your own internal guidance, and trust the sensitivities too, because they're leading you to the next thing.
Awesome. And where can people find you, Jenny?
My website is jennykarns.com, JennyKarns.com. And that's the best way to find me. And I also have an Instagram is Quantum Alchemy Jenny.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I had an awesome time. And
me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to my audience for joining us today. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. And we'll be back for another podcast next month with another special guest. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful month and stay away from the rain if you're in California. All right. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Bodega Cat Podcast. Your host, Christina Ng, will join you here again next month. Until then, have a beautiful month.